they try to act all tough and say, "Oh, we're winning the war on Terra."
Yeah, yeah.
And that perks my ears up because what they're telling me is, well, wait a minute, are you saying you're winning the war against compassion and enlightenment? Because it sure seems like it.
Yeah.
And what if we took the same $1 trillion we're going to spend on the war on terror and applied that to Terra creating technologies and programs?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we're at. Are we going to continue with the age of terror, or are we going to flip it and enter instead the age of Terra, compassion and enlightenment? It's essentially the same word, just a little bit different vibration that yields a tremendously different result.
So this is very interesting because it feels like this dichotomy, as you explain it, of these kind of two fighting forces basically. But on this level, it seems like they are getting closer and closer, and even now the words are simply just a little a letter away basically from being the same thing.
Exactly.
So I mean we are approaching kind of this this peak or convergence or whatever you want to call it at 2012. So I mean the question is, of course, what will it be? Do you have any take on it?
Well, there is clearly a struggle going on, and the forces, in my view, that seek to lock down this planet and terrorize it, at present appear to have been gaining more ground than they who seek to transform this into a place of compassion and enlightenment.
Yeah, yeah.
And those are the only two choices. I mean, forget about Jesus, Buddha, or Allah. They're not even in the picture anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just really the only two choices are not whether I'm a Christian or a Muslim. The choice is, am I a terrorist or am I a Terra?
Yeah.
Am I here for compassion and enlightenment, or am I here to bring about destruction?
Yeah.
And I think people are starting to really recognize that there is a bigger picture here, and they're trying to find within themselves ways that they can be part of the solution.
Yeah.
And I think collective consciousness is really going to win out here, because they didn't, and especially in this country, they do not like the internet at all. Not a bit. They would just as soon get rid of the internet if they could.
Yeah.
And the reason, of course, is because the way it connects people.
Yeah.
And the way it enables people to share information. Well, the internet as we know it is about to disappear. What we've been dealing with in terms of the internet is the difference between, say, a bicycle and a Harley Davidson. What's getting ready to come online in the next few years and is being mostly propagated by the activities there at CERN, the Center for European Nuclear Research in Geneva, is the creation of an incredible new intelligence that I think is going to be a big part of the solution here that's going to help us flip it.
You know, William, I really want to return to that thought in our next segment. We have, about 6 minutes left in this one, and I'd love to, talk more about that later on concerning new technology and stuff like that, because I know you speak about this, and this is, of course, fascinating material. And but I want to return briefly to the Mayans, and I know that they, in some of their prophecies, speak of that this world is going to end in, I guess, what is referred to as fire or stuff like this. And of course, one thing that comes to mind again is, of course, the aspect of solar flares and sunspots and stuff like this. And allegedly, I don't know if this 11-year cycle is correct that they are into at the moment. It seems that the peak of the solar activity will flare up in 2012. Have you come across this too?
I've been following that. One of the key researchers in that regard is Dr. Paul Laviolette. He's an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
He's one of the originators of this Earth under fire theory, as he calls it.
Yeah.
He does not see a total devastation like from one of these galactic events occurring. Well, he thinks it could happen any time between now and the next several hundred years.
Yeah.
But he's not of the camp where he's saying, it's time to go bury yourself deep underground. Okay?
Yeah.
And so I trust his opinion.
Yeah.
But again, that is one of the key things to pay attention to is the solar flare activity, and there's no question. I mean, there's talk here from people like Richard C. Hoagland and others. They cite Russian research that says it's not only Earth that is experiencing global warming, but all of the planets in our solar system
Indeed.
are showing signs of energetic increase.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that gets us back to this whole idea of we're entering a zone of frequency where the energy is higher in the galaxy. And that's very interesting to me, and we can talk about that more in the next segment, because there's a lot of substantiation for this idea that the ancients were aware of these zones of frequency and utilized these energies to awaken themselves and to expand their spiritual capabilities.
Yeah, and could we not also see this? That there are a lot of researchers who refers to these last few years we got up to 2012 here as a kind of increasing momentum in all kinds of stuff, and this of course includes research and things like this, also new technology and stuff. But it could also be referred to kind of the fire or the more, I guess, stress that could possibly go on within human beings, and that this isn't an external thing, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, the Rosicrucians are famous for reinterpreting the placard that Pontius Pilate put above Jesus' head on the cross. It said INRI, and we're taught in Sunday school that stands for Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews.
Yeah.
But the Rosicrucians said that what they believed that INRI stood for was Agen Natura Renovatura Integra, which means by fire, frequency, or vibration, humanity is renewed whole. And so what that suggests is that they had an ability to use these solar flares or the energies of the sun, or perhaps coming from elsewhere in our galaxy, to make themselves whole or holy beings. So it's a matter of focus. What are you being taught? How are you interpreting INRI? How are you interpreting these fires that the Maya and Hopi traditions say will bring about the end of this world?
Yeah, yeah. And of course, this ties back to the concept of alchemy again. It is with this fire that you can, renew yourself.
Exactly. And what was the fire that Prometheus stole? Was it a literal flame, or was it knowledge that he stole from the gods?
Yeah, yeah. And that's another, fascinating thing, because in many religions, both the fire and the tree that you mentioned earlier, and of course also the snake, these have been, kind of symbols of evil in that sense.
Yeah, and who demonized them, and why?
Exactly. I mean, so this has been do you think that have been a conscious plan from the beginning to kind of steer people away from those subjects?
Yeah, and I try to be optimistic about this and say, well, there might be a benevolent reason for that. It's not for everybody. I mean, if certain people contact this fire, it's going to fry them. So, yeah, you do kind of want to put a literary gargoyle in there that says, hey, this is off limits, go away.
Yeah, yeah.
And the timid will go away. But those who really want the answers will just break on through and demand the answers and go find them.
Yeah. And at the same time, I mean, couldn't it be serving the positive side to it might be that if these are things, let's say that you get in contact with your own, to get yourself kind of deal, that you kind of have to address your own demons and stuff like this. So if you can't, can deal with your dark inner side, this is again not for you, because you basically can't take that stuff yet. So
exactly. Exactly. And then another level of it is that what we've seen throughout history is that when people like Alexander the Great and Adolf Hitler and FDR and Saddam Hussein seek this knowledge, they're seeking it in order to weaponize it.
Yeah, yeah.
They're seeking it for power, or their love of power, as opposed to the power of love. And that's always what always gets them.
Yeah. So, William, we just have about 20 seconds or so in this segment, and no stress here. Of course, we can go over. But tell us how about your latest book and how we can get it and so forth, and then we'll continue with the next segment.
Okay, great. Yeah. Again, it's called Starwalkers and the Dimension of the Blessed. It's available from my website, williamhenry.net, and there's a really nice lecture DVD that goes along with it. And what it will do is it'll plug you into the myths and legends, the mysteries, even the energy of these divine beings called the Blessed Ones, who were able to come and go from between this realm and the heavenly realms, and left behind clues to the means by which you and I can achieve it too.
Excellent. So everyone, check out William's website. That's williamhenry.net. And do check out his latest book and, of course, his DVD. He's got a lot of fascinating stuff on his website. So williamhenry.net. And we will take a short break and we will be right back. William Henry and I will continue to talk in the subscriber section about technology, transhumanism, particle accelerators, Stargate technology, and we'll also talk about the recent Atlas project down at CERN. So I hope you will join us, and if you are not a subscriber, please consider signing up with us. We do need your help and support. Thank you all for listening to today's program, and thanks to Big Bro Fredrik in the control room. I hope you all have a pleasant and stress-free holiday. This is Henrik Palmgren signing off.
Who are we? Where do we come from? And where are we going?
Welcome.
Welcome.
This is